Cool
Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Joy Gunoche and I'm your favorite nurse, your favorite midwife so far. um Today I just want to talk about, obeying the voice of God as a human. um there are certain situations, certain times in our lives where we might have heard the voice of God and we've heard instructions from God to, do a particular thing, and we tend to ignore it and do what our mind tells us to do, and we see ourselves, doing the wrong thing at the end of the day, making the wrong decision about that thing and falling into deep pits, and it's difficult for us to rise above that challenge. And we rise above it, we come back to God, and we do the same thing again, and it keeps repeating itself. It's like a cycle that keeps, reoccurring and all that. um I know it's difficult sometimes for us to, ignore the desires of the flesh, for us to listen to that inner voice, that God spirit telling us to do this particular thing, and or to obey the word of God and stuff like that. But then I think it's paramount for us to um actually do this, to actually listen to God, to actually obey God. And when you do, you find life so easy, like easier than you could ever imagine it to be. It doesn't cost much to obey God. It doesn't cost much to do his will. It doesn't cost much to listen to the voice of God and do what he says. Like, it's so easy. It's so easy. It's so easy that it's even easier than actually doing our own will, actually doing what the flesh tells us to do, or like doing the wrong things. I kind of feel like, personally, I kind of feel it's easier to do the right thing than doing the wrong thing. I don't know about you, but I know most people feel this way as well. Like, it's so easy for you to be right, like easier for you to do the right thing than having to suffer doing the wrong thing, and then getting hurt in the process, and then coming back again. Like, you keep repeating the same mistake, keep repeating the same cycle. If you could just do the right thing at this particular point, obey the voice of God. It's difficult, I know. It's really difficult sometimes to ignore that desires, that fleshly desires in us, telling us that this is what we should do. But let's, learn to put the word of God first, and know that whatever God says we should not do, don't do it. Whatever the word of God says we shouldn't do, don't do it. Like, obey the word of God, obey the voice of God. Do what you know that God will be happy with you about. We are blessed with this desire. We are blessed with this conscience that tells us what is right and what is wrong. Even when you're not a Christian, you know what is right, you know what is wrong. You can differentiate both of them. So we actually know what is right to do, but it's kind of, we tend to ignore it sometimes. Like, we tend to ignore it, like, I don't care, let me just do what because this, I want to, achieve this immediate satisfaction now. And you see yourself in peace, you see yourself in troubles. I've done that a lot of times. I've seen myself in this sort of circle as well. And each time, like, when I decided, like, I was going to, start obeying the voice of God, then start doing things that He wants, and never try to never, listening to my inner voice, my fleshly voice telling me what to do. I like, it became so easier for me. Like, it became so easier for me to navigate through life and navigate through the problems. And problems come, definitely, even as a Christian, problems come to us. Like, we find difficulties, we find troubles, but when we obey the voice of God, it's easier to navigate through that problem and troubles, because you've done the right thing, that this problem that is coming is not yours to handle. You pray to God about it, and you trust Him that He's going to bless you with His peace, and He will. You trust Him for that peace, that leaving the problem in his hand to solve, like giving God the problem, handing it over to him, telling him to help you in that situation, and you knowing you've done the right thing, you leave it to him. You have that peace within you that, yes, I've completed my task. It's all up to God to, help me to, navigate through this problem and through this challenge in life. And yeah, it's really not so difficult to be a Christian. It's just that we sometimes complicate it ourselves by listening to two voices at the same time. The only voice we ought to listen to is the voice of God, and that's paramount. That's what is more important than anything else. That's what's more important than anything else. He has told us in his word in Jeremiah 29:11 that he knows the thoughts he has for us, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give us an expected end. We should just trust him with our whole life. Like, trust God with your life, trust God with everything happening in your life, obey his voice, and let him do the rest. Let him handle the rest. Let him handle the rest, and he's going to see us through. And I hope you're blessed by this video. And if you found any value, if you have anything else to add to this thing that I've said, or stuff like that, any questions, you can just drop it in the comment section. And thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.